In this video, I'm going to show you how to make Italian macarons. I've been meaning to make this video for a while. I do have the French version on my channel and the Swiss meringue version. But I'm going to be doing the Italian way today, is where you heat the sugar. Because I'm making a birthday cake, and there's the sponges here. And I'll be putting the macarons on top. I'll add how I made the sponges at the end of the video if you're interested in watching. Now, 110 grams worth of egg white split into two. 55 grams we're going to heat, 55 grams that we will add into a paste, which is 150 grams of almond flour and 150 grams of icing sugar. So what we'll do is we'll do the paste first. I'm going to add the 55 grams of egg whites and just mix it into a paste. Might take a little bit of time to get together, but it will come together. It's going to be tough, but that's how it has to be. You can add your color too. So these are going to be green macarons. So I'm just going to add a bit of green. Don't use oil colors, only use the gels. Right. So I'm going to keep mixing that in. It may feel tough at the start, but it will blend in. And after a bit of time, that's perfect. You got a nice paste. So this is an extra step that you have that you don't have in the French version that I have on my channel, the way to do it. But yeah, so that's that. And we're going to cover it up. So we're going to heat the sugar 115 degrees Celsius, which is 239 degrees Fahrenheit. And at the same time, we're going to start mixing the meringue. So when that's ready to go, we'll add that to the meringue. I'll show you how to do that in the kitchen. So I'm going to add the 55 grams of egg white to the bowl. I'll put that with a whisk. So there's 40 mils of water and 150 grams of sugar. You're going to need something to test the temperature. Now don't stir, just leave it, let it boil. You want to put it on a medium heat. You want a thermometer that's accurate. So I'm not going to put it in there until I know it's starting to warm up. So once it starts to simmer, we will start mixing this until it gets to soft peaks. Once this gets to 114 degrees, then we can add the sugar to the egg white. Let's just look at this temperature now. And we're just going to put it on the edge. I'm going to get the mixer going. And it will be frothy at the start, but once the meringue gets together, we're not mixing to stiff, so we just want it to get soft. That's where it kind of like, if you take out the whisk, it will flop over on itself. But I'll show you when we get to that point. We're gradually creeping up. Now, if you feel like this is getting into a meringue faster than the sugar, you can slow it down, but we're going good for time at the moment. We're on 90.6, 90.8. Now you want to get this off at 115. 120 too high and 110 is too low. So this is going up pretty fast now. Now we're on 112, we're getting there. We got the soft peaks that we want. Okay, so we're on 114, almost 115. I'll take that out now. Turn it off. Now I'm going to tip this down the side of the bowl, but don't hit the whisk. You don't want to burn yourself. So just drop it down the side and just dribble it. I've got it on speed 6 at the moment. Now we're gonna mix this. I'm on speed 8 at the moment until we get to stiff peak. So I'll show you what a stiff peak is. At the moment, that's flopping over. So that's a floppy peak. We want that to be sticking in the air. So we're just gonna keep mixing. And I'm on speed 8. We'll just take a few minutes. And we'll just keep going. You'll know it's ready when it will start building up in the whisk. Like, let me slow it down. It will start building up in the middle. It will start building up in the middle of the whisk. So we've still got a little bit to go. Let's just have a look. It's getting there, I can just feel it. It's almost there. We're gonna keep going. Now I will be doing, for the cake, I'll be mixing more egg white for the cream, the buttercream. So I'm using a lot of egg white today. But I like to get the macarons done because I want them to cool down. I want to put the filling in them and then put them in the fridge overnight, because macarons are best eaten about 24 hours after you make them. Still want to keep going. We want a stable meringue. The more stable the meringue is, this is why I like the Italian way of doing them. The more stable the meringue is, the more you're going to get a stronger macaron. It's not going to be hollow. It's going to have a nice shell. It's not as sweet as the French macarons where you don't heat the sugar. A bit more, a little bit more. It's getting there. It's getting there. You really want it stiff. So but be careful you don't over mix at the same time. So 20 seconds can mean the difference between breaking and being successful. That's why I'm stopping it so much. You can tell because it's building up and it's like a glossy look that it is close. And if you look at that peak there, it is sticking up. But we just want to get it perfect. It's almost there. Got a little bit. Just want to go a little bit longer. And there we go. It's nice. All right. So I'm going to take this back to the garage. Now try and get as much as you can off the whisk. I was always trained never to hit the whisk, but there we go. And to the paste, we want to add half this mixture. And we will mix it in. Not too rough, but you might have to go a little bit. Not too rough, but you might have to go a little bit on the rougher side. Go through the middle. Use a big bowl if you can. And then I always like to just put it at an angle and just spin it around. And once it gets to that stage, we're now going to add the rest of the meringue. And we're going to do what we call the macaronage, which is where we keep mixing this very gently, folding it until we get a figure 8. And I'll show you what that is. Now we're going to fold this until we get a nice lava effect. I like to go around twice and then cut through the middle. Get behind it. Make sure you get all the edges. Now what you want it to come off the spatula until we get, this is close. If you over mix, they're going to spread, and if you don't mix them enough, they're going to have like little tops on them. So you want to, that's ready. See how it came off? So I'm going to put this in my piping bag. try and get everything you can out of this. Like so. Now with the piping tube, I've got one that's about the size of my pinky. That's my favorite size. Now for the trays, I like to put the mats on the top of the tray, because you'll find with macarons, if you put it this way, sometimes the heat around the side can crack the outside of the macarons. So for me, it's best, and the heat gets through it a lot better. So I do the tray upside down. And you squeeze and twist, like so. So I'm just squeezing and then spinning. I don't want to squeeze and then pour up like that, because then you get like a tip. So I'm spinning. You'll get used to it once you do it a few times. Like so. Now, depending on how big you make these macarons, you can go to a third tray if you need. Now, I'm just going to knock out all the air by just tapping underneath. And this will also help it spread. And this will also pop any bubbles that are coming out. Now once I do that, any bubbles on top, just use a toothpick and just pop them. For example, here. You see this one? Because they will cause hollows. And you don't want that. So that's about it. I mean, it's not too much of a big deal, but yeah, so we want to, and then just, but yeah, that's about it. So all right, I'm going to put these in the oven now, 150 degrees. Because I'm using the stone oven, I'm going 140. I've got wires on my stones. I'm going to bake these for 13 minutes and add if I have to. If you're using a home oven, do 7 minutes and then turn the tray around. So yeah, I'm going to put that in there 14 minutes, or 14 minutes, and see how they look. And they're actually going to be white chocolate, and the drip on the cake will also be white chocolate. So I'm going to do it all at the same time. This is 700 grams of chocolate, and I'll just cut this up and melt it. And I'll just heat the heavy cream, which is about 233 grams, until it starts to simmer, and then I'll add the white chocolate to it. And you don't want the bowl to hit the water too much. That's why I like using this KitchenAid one. So yeah, I'll let that just get to a simmer, and then I'll add the chocolate. And once it starts to simmer, I can see it simmering down there, just kind of add the white chocolate. Go a little bit at a time. And we just want to put that in there till it softens up. Just help it out a bit. And oh my God, I got green on my hands. And I'm just gonna add some green to it as well. This must have been leaking. All right, and it's nice and soft. This is the green color that we want. I'm actually gonna take that off now. It's warm enough. And this is the green color that I'm gonna go for. Once that's all mixed in, we're going to leave it to the side to let it cool down. And this will fill the macarons, and then we'll heat it a lot more when we drip the cake. But yeah, so that's done. So it's been about 13 minutes. We're just going to test. And the tops aren't moving. So these are ready to go. I'm going to pull these out. And you'll see they've got really nice feet. And they're not moving at all. So that's perfect. The bottom one on the oven, the feet are usually smaller, which they are, because the heat, it rises in this oven, but it's still good. You can still fit 3 trays, which is a lot better than having to wait. So I turn the oven off. I'm gonna let this cool down now. I've got my sponges ready. The paper stuck to this one, but I've got the sponges ready to go. And I have my focaccias in the fridge. So all I've got to do now is the Swiss meringue for the buttercream, start decorating the cake, and we've got the ganache ready to fill the macarons and to drip this cake. Now once they've cooled down, they should come off the board very easy, like so. You just pop it off, nice. I'm gonna pair these up and then put the ganache on them, which is here. And it's exactly where I want it to be. So I'm going to use this quickly before it gets too hard. So what I'm doing is I'm just pairing them up like so, because they're not perfectly the same size. So that's a bit bigger. That's perfect. Some I didn't hit out too well. There's that one. So just makes it easier for when you fill them, if you get all the sizes correct now. Because what I'll do is the next step is I'll put them like this, and then when I fill them, put the shell on top. So now I've got them all split up, and the ganache is at a good spot where I want it to be. Just mix it in a bit. This is the same ganache I'll be dripping the cake with too. So I've got a piping tube about the size of my pointer finger. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to put it at an angle, like so. Just test this first. Let's hope this isn't too soft. That's good. It could have went a little bit more drier, but we're just going to have to be careful. So it was a bit soft, so I've waited a bit longer, and I put those ones in the fridge. Let's try now. That's better. Yeah, before it was way too soft. And then what you do, you just squeeze them together, like so. So I'm going to put these all close together, because I'm going to put them in the fridge to set too. And now I'm going to just do the whole lot. Usually I use a smaller piping bag, that way I can hold the shell while I do it. And that's it. Got some small, but yeah, overall they're very good. Let's just get a shot. And I'm going to put those in the fridge to set, and then I'm going to put them in a sealed container and put them on the cake to decorate. And I'll leave those in the fridge for a bit. So that's the end of the video with the macarons. I thought I'd put this first for people that are only interested in the Italian macarons and the method. And from this part, I will show you how I did the focaccia and the sponge cake. So first, I'm just going to start with the focaccia because my starter is already peaked. It smells nice. It's not acidic. So for the recipe for my focaccia, I have a video about this. We need 800 mils of water, 200 grams of starter, I'll just break this down into the water, and I'm going to add 1 kilo of flour, which I'll add 500 first, mix in the 500 first, then I'll add 25 grams of olive oil. This is how it's looking so far. Then I'll add the other 500 grams. To the bottom. Now this is going to be enough for 2 of these tins. Like so. Only has to be rough for now. I'll put a lid on, put it to the side. And I'm just going to write down at 5:30 p.m. I'm doing a late bake because I'm doing the cake. This one I added the starter because we're going to grow this to 50% and then put it in the fridge overnight. So for the sponge, I'm just going to mix the sugar and the butter, and that was 650 grams of each. So I'm going to mix this until it's kind of combined, and then I'll put this on speed 5, a bit faster, and mix it for 5 minutes until it's creamed together very nicely. About that speed there. So I'll do that for 5 minutes, and after about 5 minutes, it should be nice and creamy. And this is where we add the eggs. And to that, I'll add 10 eggs. What I'd usually do is I'll break the egg into a cup first because I don't want eggshell in there. And I'll just add 1 egg. Make sure it's blended in completely. Go up a little bit high if you have to. Once that egg is combined like this, I'll get the next egg ready. Back on slow. Let that combine and then keep adding the rest. And I'll just do all 10 eggs like this. And once that's nice and fluffy and mixed in, I'll be adding the self-raising flour, which has the baking powder inside. And we're not going to mix that in, we're going to fold that in. And I'm going to add the flour, 650 grams to this. I will put the recipe in the description of the video. And we just sift that through so we get a nice soft crumb. I've got some more milk here, so you want all the ingredients the same temperature. I'm going to put 2 teaspoons of vanilla essence. And then I'll just blend this in with my hand. You don't want to mix this at all. I've got my tins all ready to go, and they're 10 inches. So I'm going to mix this in very gently, just fold it. You don't want to knock out the air that you've put into the eggs. And once that's combined like so, we're going to put it in the tin. And this is the focaccia. If you look at it, it's already building strength. So I'm just going to do I like to do the stretch and fold in the air. And that's the third fold. So I'm going to put 850 per tin. Like so. Just going to spread it out gently. So it doesn't have to be perfect. Now I've got my oven set to 170. I've got a stone oven, but I've got wires on the stones. So that will stop the heat touching the bottom of the tin. I'm gonna bake these for half an hour. So I'm lucky I can fit the two 10 inches at the top and a 10 inch there. And we'll bake that for half an hour. So about half an hour in, let's just look at the sponge. Yeah, we're gonna pour those out. Beautiful. And beautiful. Cool. So for the macarons, I'm going to drop this temperature down to 150. It's going to be a while till I start the macarons, so it'll give it time for the oven to drop temperature. And we want these to cool for about 10 minutes in the tin before we take them out. And I'm just going to tip it onto a wire very fast. So, and beautiful. It's exactly how I want it. And then fast. And this one too. That's it. I'm gonna let this completely cool down. Now I'm gonna do the buttercream. And I've got 600 grams of sugar. And I'm gonna add 330 grams of egg white. And we're gonna heat this on the stove. Let this warm up a bit first. Yep. You're gonna heat this till you can't feel the sugar in between your fingers. And what I like to do is I use the whisk just to mix it in a bit. We're gonna heat this until 70 degrees, or at least till you can't feel the sugar in between your fingers when you rub it. So you want it to dissolve. Then we're gonna mix it to a soft peak. And once that sugar has dissolved and you can't feel it anymore, we're gonna mix this. Now the reason why we're not using hot sugar, like the macarons were going to 114 degrees, and because that was the Italian method. With the Swiss meringue method, we're only going to 70 degrees because we're gonna add butter to the buttercream, and that will melt if the sugar's too hot. This will cool down a bit by the time we add the butter to it. So I'm gonna keep mixing this until we get to soft peaks, and then I'll add the butter. And when we get to this point, it's kind of picked up, it's not complete. When we get to this point, we are now going to add the butter bit by bit on slow speed. So I'll show you how I do that. Just going to put it on slow. I'm just going to throw in a bit by bit on speed 2. I'm just going to throw the butter in bit by bit. Until all 1 kilo of this butter is in the mix. And then once it's all in, it should get to this stage. And I'll pour this out. It started coming together way before my butter was all the way in, which is good. But what I'm gonna do is, just to get any air bubbles out of this, I'm just gonna run the spatula through here to get any air bubbles. And I'm gonna put the paddle in here and just mix it on slow for a few minutes. Just makes it easier when you decorate the cake that you don't have no air bubbles. I'm just using the back of the spatula and just going backwards and forwards. Now I'm gonna switch to my paddle and just mix it on slow to get any other air out of it. Because the whisk will bring a lot of air into this. I'm just gonna mix that on slow. while I get everything else ready. And almost forgot, oh my God, add some vanilla essence. So I'm gonna add probably 3 teaspoons. So we're gonna start putting this together. I've already put the first sponge on the board with some buttercream underneath. This fridge is a bit noisy at the moment. Hopefully it doesn't pick up. So I'm just gonna put this together quickly. So I wanna put the middle layer on like so. I'll get my other layer. Forgot my cake board. Here we go. That's better. And I'll just cover it up and let it sit in the fridge for its first coat. And after the first coat, smooth it out as much as we can. This is just the first coat, so I will be going over it again, but you really want it to set before you go too many layers. I'm going to put that in the fridge just to harden up for the first coat. All right, so now we're going to put another coat on because we've got the undercoat. I'm going to go pretty thick with this. I want to put quite a bit on the side, so and now when I've caked a lot on, just gonna take some off. And now it's almost kind of smooth, so I'm gonna put that in the fridge to let it completely set before we put the drip on it. Now we're gonna put the drip on. So it's the next day. I've just pulled the focaccia out. It's been out for about 2 hours at room temperature. I'm going to decorate it. I've got the macarons here in the container. And this is the cake. This is how it turned out in the end. I even put the macarons on the top. So I went to go a bit metallic on the macarons I'm not sure if I overdid it, even the text, even the font. So I'm going to do the focaccia now. And that's baked at 220. And it will be for 20 minutes. I've had this oven preheating for about 2.5 hours. So I'm gonna do one plain and one with the cherry tomatoes. So before I squeeze it down, I'm just gonna place them all. It's very puffy. The room temperature is 28. So it's very warm today. This would have been a great time to do my sourdough video where we use the cold water, but I will be doing that video as soon as we get a hot day. It's gonna be a few hot days, so I'm gonna go a bit over the top with this. I'm gonna put olives on top as well. I do go a bit over the top with my focaccia. I'm going to put some red onion too. I'm going to put olive oil over the whole top. And the rosemary herbs. So now I'm going to push down. I'll do this one first. Anything you can see just sitting there, push it in. And then I'll do this one. And I'm going to put this in the oven for 20 minutes with steam. So I've got that ready to go. Oh, this steam. And I'll bake that for 20 minutes. So we're towards the end of the bake. And I want to add a bit more color, but it's looking beautiful. I'm going to give this a few more minutes. That's it. Now it's out the oven. This one, I've already started eating it, but I almost forgot to record this, but yeah. Thanks for watching the video. I will probably just add a video just after this of the cake at the party.